Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think, but Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
It's a big-time fight, and if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds.
Jack Della Maddalena has just issued a stern warning to Islam Makhachev ahead of their highly anticipated fight. However, Daniel Cormier described a potential fight between Jack Della Maddalena and Islam Makhachev as an exciting, high-stakes matchup with major significance. He mentioned that if Jack keeps performing at the level he has recently, the fight would become even more intriguing, especially since fans have never seen Islam compete at welterweight. While Cormier acknowledged Islam's physical strength, he questioned whether Islam could match Jack's size and frame, especially after reports that Islam had slimmed down in preparation for a possible fight during International Fight Week. He expressed concerns about whether Islam would have enough time to properly bulk up and adjust to a new division.
It's a big-time fight, and if Jack Della looks the way he did last weekend, it's very, very intriguing fight because we've never seen Islam Makhachev fight up at 170 pounds. We've never seen it. We've never seen him have to compete up 15 more pounds. Yes, he is a big dude. But in terms of full-on stature, is he big as Jack Della Maddalena is? And also, if he thought he may fight International Fight Week, how small had he gotten? And how much time does he have to put the weight back on the right way before he moves up to 170?
Cormier also emphasized that the fight is intriguing not just for its technical aspects, but because of the storyline behind it. Jack just won the welterweight title by defeating Belal Muhammad, and now he's being challenged by a dominant champion from a lighter division. DC pointed out that the buildup is full of drama and unanswered questions, making the potential matchup even more captivating. While analysts will later dive into the tactical details, Cormier noted that the current focus is on the compelling narrative that makes this fight so exciting.
A lot of questions, but it's a big time fight, and we'll get into the X's and O's as we get closer. But right now, we're talking the story. We're talking about a guy that just beat Belal Muhammad to become champion, now getting challenged by a 155-pound champion.
Gilbert Burns shared his support for Islam Makhachev moving up to welterweight, saying he thinks 170 pounds is a better fit since Makhachev has struggled to make 155. He praised Makhachev as the top pound-for-pound fighter, but said a fight with Jack Della Maddalena would be much closer than people think. Burns highlighted that Jack has been training with top names like Alexander Volkanovski and Craig Jones, which gives him valuable experience and insight. Although Burns hasn't fully broken down the matchup yet, he believes it would be a very competitive and interesting fight.
Islam's working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much on that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
However, JDM said he thinks Islam is a big guy and will probably do fine, but he does not believe Islam will stay at 170 pounds for long. He thinks it will likely be just one fight, and then Islam will have to move back down because of how things go. When asked how he sees the fight going, JDM said he believes he can beat him. He explained that Belal changes his stance a lot while walking forward, but if he faces someone who stays in one stance, like Islam, he feels confident. JDM does not think Islam is a very good striker and believes he can land many clean shots and finish the fight.
I think he just seems like a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
I think he'll be alright.
Yeah. You think he'll stick around at 170, or do you think it's just...
I think he'll be one fight, and then he'll probably have to go back down
because of how it'll go.
Yeah.
How do you see it playing out?
I think I can take him out. I think Bilal really just changes stances a lot, walks forward. But I think if I can have someone that just stays in the same stance, and I don't think, but Islam's the very good striker. I think I could land a lot of shots, and I think I could take him out.
Wow.
If I get taken down, I believe I can get back to my feet.
Moreover, Ian Machado Gary praised Islam Makhachev, saying that if he moves up to welterweight to fight for the title, every fighter in the division should take notice. He described Makhachev as a highly skilled and dangerous opponent who can cause serious problems for anyone he faces. Gary believes that without the stress of cutting weight, Makhachev could be even more effective, making his already elite skills even more dangerous. He added that Makhachev is a perfect example of the modern MMA fighter, smart, technical, calm under pressure, and a real threat to anyone in the cage.
And if that man turns up and says, I want to be next, then I think everyone in the welterweight division goes, okay. He's an absolute disaster for everyone in the division if he comes up and doesn't have to cut weight. He'll still be big, he'll still be strong. He's the perfect example of the new evolution of fighters. Great everywhere.
Robert Whitaker said it's tough to know exactly how Islam Makhachev will handle the jump to the welterweight division, since moving up in weight always involves a degree of unpredictability. He explained that such transitions are difficult to evaluate because both the physical demands and tactical elements may shift dramatically. Still, Whitaker trusts in Makhachev's skill set, explaining that Islam can match everything Belal Muhammad brings, but with more precision and at a higher standard.
But like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way better.
Whitaker also shared his opinion on Jack Della Maddalena's latest outing, saying that while Jack was the clear winner, the bout remained close throughout. He thinks a potential clash between Jack and Islam would be challenging for both sides. Nevertheless, Whitaker believes in Jack's upside, praising his drive, grit, and what he described as an unpredictable quality that sets him apart. Just as Jack proved himself against Belal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns, Whitaker feels confident that he could rise to another tough challenge.
And the fight, I thought Jack handedly had the fight, but it was a fight. Okay, so I don't think it'll be an easy fight for Jack, but I believe in Jack. I think he's got that X factor. He's got that hunger there. You know, he's got the ticker, and you know, just like with Belal, just like with Burns before, I think he can do the impossible.
Stephen Thompson shared his thoughts on the challenges Islam Makhachev might face if he moves up to welterweight. He explained that even though Islam is naturally heavy, many welterweights cut down from over 205 pounds, so size and strength could be a real challenge. Thompson noted that while Jack Della Maddalena may only have a slight height edge, it's the overall physicality of the welterweight division that could be the biggest hurdle for Islam. He praised Makhachev's world-class grappling, but also pointed out that Jack has already faced top-level wrestlers like Belal Muhammad. Thompson said the fight wouldn't be easy for Islam, but admitted he's very interested in the matchup and hopes the UFC makes it happen.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I've faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler, but like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Belal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen, but if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen, and you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Dan Hardy shared his thoughts on Jack Della Maddalena's potential, acknowledging his impressive skills but questioning if he can truly dominate the welterweight division as competition continues to grow. He praised Della Maddalena's showing against Belal Muhammad but was more skeptical about how Islam Makhachev would perform at 170 pounds. While Hardy respects Makhachev's dominance at lightweight, he doesn't see him beating Della Maddalena. He raised concerns about whether Islam could handle the physical demands of the welterweight division, especially especially the size difference and the stamina needed for a 5-round fight.
I think Della Maddalena's got a bright future. I don't know whether he's going to hold the belt or, he's going to lose it to another one of the top contenders and then pick it back up again. I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev, though. I think Makhachev holds the lightweight belt against anybody in the world, on any day, including Ilia Topuria. I don't think if he moved up, he would have much success against Makhachev. But Della Maddalena looked very, very sharp against Bilal. And I wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight, whether he would look as strong and as lean or whether he would look heavier and, potentially gas himself out because he'd be stepping straight into a 5-round fight, wouldn't he?
Henry Cejudo predicted that Islam Makhachev would defeat Jack Della Maddalena and become a 2-division UFC champion, calling it the natural next step in building Islam's legacy. On the other hand, Kamaru Usman showed support for Jack, praising his calmness in the cage and saying he believes Jack has the skills to defend his welterweight title successfully. Both Cejudo and Usman agreed that the fight is likely to happen in October in Abu Dhabi, which means any plans for a potential matchup between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria are on hold for now.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, "Keep it shiny, keep it nice for me." JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilia versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Ali Abdelaziz confirmed that Islam Makhachev will fight for the official welterweight title this year, not an interim belt. He explained that Jack Della Maddalena is currently the champion, but if Jack isn't available, someone else will step in to face Islam for the title. Abdelaziz said this plan has been approved by the UFC, including Dana White and Hunter Campbell. He also mentioned that one of the conditions for Islam moving up was that if Jack got injured, the title would be vacated. While he hopes Jack stays healthy, Abdelaziz made it clear that the UFC is ready to move forward with a title fight no matter what.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what the hunters, everybody said. And that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seemed like he's healthy, this title will be vacated, and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Javier Mendez said it's hard to predict if Jack Della Maddalena would be a tougher challenge, but he made it clear that Islam Makhachev wants the fight and is fully ready for it. He praised Islam's skills and relentless work ethic, noting that he is on a different level compared to anyone Jack has fought before. Mendez emphasized that if the fight happens, fans will see Makhachev perform at an elite level. He also mentioned that moving to welterweight fits Islam physically, as he won't be undersized and will be a strong, competitive force in the division.
It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Michael Bisping spoke highly of Jack Della Maddalena, calling his victory over Bilal Muhammad a standout moment in his career. He praised Jack not just for his impressive skills in the cage, but also for his humble and respectful demeanor, describing him as a genuinely good person. Bisping emphasized Jack's readiness to take on tough challenges and pointed out that his performance has set him up for the next big test, facing Islam Makhachev, a fight Bisping believes is coming soon.
Tonight belongs to Jack Della Maddalena. He's an awesome human being. I've sat down with him several times and had some conversations. Nice guy, quiet guy, a man of few words. But I tell you what, That was an incredible fight tonight. And he'll take on Islam Makhachev. He doesn't care. He wants to be a part of the biggest fights possible. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. That's the fight that's going to happen.
MMA analyst Luke Thomas praised Jack Della Maddalena for his outstanding striking in his fight, saying he stood out even though Bilal Muhammad also performed well. However, Thomas also pointed out some flaws in Della Maddalena's game, like gaps in his defense and risky takedown attempts. He warned that these weaknesses could be a problem against someone like Islam Makhachev, who is known for his accuracy, control, and ability to make very few mistakes.
The striking prowess of JDM, if he could just have enough time to get it going, would be enough. I think Muhammad somewhat overperformed relative to expectations, but in the end, JDM was better. But the defensive lapses, to me, I know we have to focus on like how good JDM is as a striker, but what could have cost him here was the incompleteness of his defense. And to me, he took a quantum leap forward today in showing how good that was. Now, again, trying to turn that defense into offense by trying to go for some of those ill-advised takedowns, especially in the fifth, and then you're getting kind of lateral dropped for it. You do that against Islam, and I think that's a huge mistake. Islam just doesn't make a lot of mistakes, right? He doesn't necessarily have, at times, always the flashiest offense. I mean, he does have very good offense. We're talking about the pound-for-pound #1 guy in the sport. But what really defines him is that he makes very, very good decisions.
Thomas also shared his excitement about the idea of Islam Makhachev moving up to welterweight, while he acknowledged that a fight between Makhachev and Ilia Topuria would be exciting. He was especially interested in seeing what Makhachev could accomplish at 170 pounds. Thomas admitted there's no guarantee the move would be successful, but he emphasized the huge opportunity it presents for Islam to win a second title and strengthen his legacy as a two-division champion.
I have to tell you, Islam up at 170 to me is exciting. I know what everyone's going to say. Oh my God, the best fight you could have made in MMA was Ilia versus Islam. I'm not denying it. I'm not in any way asking you to feel differently about what was the best fight that could be made. But here's what I am trying to tell you. Islam up at 170 could be something really special. It could fizzle too, but I'm trying to point out the positives. It could be really special. For him to become a double champ could be a very big deal.
Luke Thomas explained that while Islam Makhachev is likely to face Jack Della Maddalena next, that doesn't mean a future fight with Ilia Topuria is off the table. He said that even if Makhachev were to suffer a close loss at welterweight, he could still return to lightweight to take on Topuria. Thomas showed real excitement about Islam moving up to 170 pounds, saying it could give fans something special, especially if Makhachev sticks around in the division for more than one fight. He also said Islam has earned the right to chase a second title, pointing to his track record of taking risks, like agreeing to fight Alexander Volkanovski twice, as proof of his commitment to facing the toughest challenges.
Just because you're going to get, it looks like, Makhachev and JDM next doesn't mean you actually can't get Makhachev and Ilia at some point. It could be he goes up against JDM and maybe he doesn't get his ass kicked, but maybe he just kind of loses and you're like, oh, all right. Then you go back to 55 and you can see what's up after that. So it's not even a case that you can't get it. But my point is, Islam at 170, if he gives us 3 or maybe even 4 of those, is a treat as far as I'm concerned. Like him vying for double champ status, he's earned it. He gave Volkanovski 2 cracks. He accepted one of those on short notice, and I know it was like shorter notice for Volkanovski, but you know, nevertheless, accepting to fight Alexander Volkanovski on very, very short notice is still risky no matter who you are and no matter how much prep. And he gave him both of those. He did one of those fights in Volkanovski's home country. He's earned it. He's earned it. He's absolutely earned it.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about Islam moving up? We would love to hear your thoughts on this. So share your thoughts in the comments section and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now.